Salve. In these next lines, Juno continues her speech, her little monologue here. Let's read. Quipe vetor fatis, pallas nexuere classem, argivat quipsos potuit submergere ponto, unies ob nox et furias aiacis solei. I'll stop there. Quipe, certainly. Vetor, I am denied. A fatis. You got to put an a in there. It is ablative. A fatis. And this is ironic that she would say this. She says, oh, am I going to be denied by the fates? And we know the subject, by the way, is ego, because it's a first-person singular. Vetor, passive. Am I? Certainly I'm denied by the fates. Oh, certainly. And she says, no, I don't think so. Pallas ne. Here's another one of these questions here. Got the ne telling us it's a question. Pallas ne was Pallas. This is the subject. And we're talking about Pallas Athena here. Minerva, right? In Latin. Was Pallas potuit, able, to exurere, to burn, the classem, the fleet, argivorum. And I know it says argivum, but it's short for argivorum. There is an or missing in there, which we call syncopation, syncope, to make it fit the meter. Was Pallas able, potuit, this is perfect tense by the way, able to burn up the fleet of the Argives, and was she able to submergere, to submerge, drown, ipsos, they themselves, I guess meaning the men themselves, ponto, in the sea, in ponto, unius ob nox et furias aiacis olei. We've got this preposition here governing obnoxam on account of the offense and madness or rages, and then you got some genitives of who these belong to, of one man, meaning, because it's masculine, Ajax, Oileus. So those all go together. Ajax of Oileus, and he's differentiated from Ajax of Telamon, who's the more famous, larger Ajax. And what happened was this guy, Ajax, during the siege of Troy, he desecrated the temple of Minerva by raping Cassandra, the prophetess and daughter of Priam, in front of the altar of Minerva. So that really made Minerva upset, and she, on account of this one man's noxam, offense, and madnesses, she drowned a whole ship of people because of this. So Juno's making a comparison here. If Minerva can do this kind of stuff, then surely I am justified in taking care of the Trojans that are still wandering around, because this whole people has offended me, whereas just one guy offended Minerva, and Athena took care of her. And just looking back at this ipsos here, it does mean the men, because if it was the classem, it would be ipsam, right? And so it's referring to the Argives themselves. And usually, the FAR has a little note, when Vergil uses ipsos, as in a lot of Latin, when they use ipsos, then they're talking about the masters of the situation here. So these are the people who are guiding the boat. The ipsos refers to them. She was able to drown they themselves in the sea. Okay, moving on with the last part of this. Well, let's do that part one more time. Surely I am denied by the fates. Was Pallas able to burn the fleet of the Argives, meaning the Greeks? Argives are the Greeks, by the way. And able to submerge the men themselves in the deep on account of the offense and rages of one man, Ajax of Oileus, and Oileus is his father. That's how we just determine who he is, Ajax Oileus, Ajax of Oileus. Ipsa Iovis rapidum jaculate nubibus ignem, disjacitque rates evertit quaequora ventis, il expirantem transfixo pectore flammas, turbine corripuit scopulo quin fixit acuto. So Juno's now going to give us some more details about this whole thing, about how Pallas took care of Ajax Oileus. She herself, this is the subject, and it refers to Minerva, having tossed, this is a perfect deponent participle here, modifies ipsa, they're both feminine, singular, having tossed the ignem, that's the object of Jaculata, and its rapidum goes with it, having tossed the swift fire. And Iovis tells us whose it is, it's a genitive of possession, of Jove. Remember, this is lightning, basically. Swift fire of Jove, meaning Jupiter's lightning. E nubibus, ablative, out of the clouds. And that's ablative with the preposition e. Direction away from always is ablative, or generally ablative. She herself, having tossed the swift fire of Jupiter, that's my daughter waking up a little bit here, out of the clouds, and then what did she do? Disjecit. Disjecit que. You got two ands going on here. Let me mark them. You got a que here, and you got a que here. Polysyndeton, meaning too many ands, or more than you need. She both disjecit, dislodged the rates, the ships. That's the object of disjecit, and overturned the Aequora, the seas. Also, these are all going with Minerva, the seas. And how did she do that? Ventis, with the winds. So you got to put in a with. It's ablative of means here. She both dislodged the boats and overturned the seas with the winds. Remember, ablative translate by, with, from, in, or away from, and you'll be pretty set. She did all this. Dislodged the boats and overturned the seas with the winds. And she did one last thing. She corripuit way down here. She snatched up. Now I don't see another and here, so you got to put in an and at. So we had polysyndeton here, meaning too many ands, and now we have asyndeton, leaving out and. And she snatched up illum, that guy, accusative, breathing flammas. So this goes with this, and then this is a present active participle here. And the thing that he is breathing is these flammas. Let's go ahead and put a little dashed line over to this. Flammas, that's what he's breathing. That's the direct object of expirantem. And he's breathing them, Far tells us to put in an X. Pectore transfixo. Those are ablatives, so we're going to put direction away from. He's breathing those flames out of his transfixed chest. So apparently, she slammed his chest on her. We're going to find out on a rock, and then these flames are getting blown out of his chest. Pretty gruesome. And she snatched up him, breathing flames from his pierced chest. She snatched him up, we should have put this in earlier, I guess, turbine, with a whirlwind. That tells us how she snatched him up. And lastly, got a que, and she infixed, the last verb, she fixed, and you got to put in illum again, him, back here, onto in scopulo acuto. And that you could either, she fixed him with a sharp rock, meaning an ablative of means, or Far says you could even do a dative of direction. She fixed him to a sharp rock. Either one are acceptable with this verb infix it. She fixed him onto a sharp rock or fixed him with a sharp rock. Doesn't really matter. This guy really got the full treatment here, and he is dead. So one more time, let's go over that last part. She herself, having tossed the swift fire of Jove, she both dislodged the boats and overturned the seas with the winds, and she snatched up him with a whirlwind, breathing flames from his pierced chest, and fixed him onto a sharp rock. Wow, don't mess with Minerva. Okay, we'll find out the rest of this. Juno's going to continue to compare herself now to this picture that she's painted of Minerva. Wale.